So it's actually kind of self-explanatory. I just want to give it a quick, dedicated look, as it's an important feature which has a great impact onto your report. As the name indicates right here, you can sync the copied visual with the visual it was copied from. What does this mean? Well, if I click sync right here, you have 1975 selected, right? If I now select 1976 here, and we go back to the tree map, you see 1976 is also selected. If I go back to the slicer and select maybe, I don't know, 1982, then, well, as you can imagine, 1982 is also selected right here. If we check the first slicer though, let's see it, it's not selected. So that's important to keep in mind. As you saw it on the pop-up, if you copy a slicer, then you can keep it in sync with the slicer you copied it from. And this works in both ways. So if you now take the initial slicer, so select 1970, then this is also synced with the copied slicer, but only between these two. In the overview slicer again, 1970 is not selected. But we can go further here. We can go to our slicer here and now call this maybe our control slicer. I don't know if that's the right word here, but let's say this is the slicer which controls the year in our entire visual. Because if you now select the slicer and now you go to the view menu, then you can find this sync slicers option up here. And if you click onto it, then you get a new column, a column we never saw before. And here you can adjust two things. First, you can adjust whether the slicer syncs on the corresponding pages in our report. So does it have an impact on the relationships page, the measures page, the overview, tree maps, and so on. At the moment, this slicer here only has an impact onto the control slicer page and onto the tree maps page. This is actually what you just saw because we copied the slicer, therefore this controls both of these pages. If we now additionally add the overview and now select maybe 1978 and now go back to the overview page, well, now it's in sync, right? Now you can synchronize the years in this single control slicer page right here. However, if you again select it, you can of course also unselect these, or you can also hide slicers on specific pages. Because you could say that actually you don't want to have the option to select the slicer individually anymore, but you only want to have it on this main page. Therefore, if you unselect it right here, go to the overview page, the slicer is gone. However, to be honest, I don't like that look here in our project, so let's click it again and show it. So this is what syncing slicers means. So you can create this control slicer to have an impact onto your pages. Let's hide this option though again, and let's maybe put this control slicer right here to the left. And let's go back to our tree maps and tables visual, because besides this slicer, the sync slicer column we just saw, there is another column we didn't explore in a lot of detail so far in this course. And this is our filters column here.